Welcome back to another wonderful episode of Success Innovation. Today's episode is a live session presented by Hugo Denat from timeflies.us.
Session, that was part of the networking session. I heard a couple conversations there. This is what Success Innovation is actually supposed to be about, part of it. One of the most important things is for the networking. How many of you younger students actually do this with professionals and individuals from other areas? Well, this is something that I'm trying to bring here, and there's quite a few individuals here that work in the industry. We have General Atomics, we have also Nadir, an aerospace engineer, we have a patents lawyer, and obviously we have our presenter here, Hugo. And so Success Innovation, the whole platform of Success Innovation is to go ahead and explain it, is to create a stronger community by bringing valuable info sessions and allowing professional connections to organically grow in the area by empowering the community one session at a time. So every session, if you come to every session that I host, that is hosted, you will definitely meet and carry on conversations, meet different individuals, run into individuals that you probably already knew, and get a little more comfortable, catch up, learn something new, exchange information. There's people here from San Isidro High. Can you raise your hands? Okay. People from Hilltop. Okay. At this age, you might think that you're rivals. But in life, when you get out, you don't belong to anything. You belong to the world. So the more you talk to each other, the more you network right now, the better are in the future if you run into each other at the college, at a job fair, at an industry. You will definitely touch base and say, hey, I met you at that info session a long time ago. You know, how's it going? What have you been doing? Et cetera, et cetera. So you get to catch up. And that is what empowering and one session at a time means for me. Success Innovation. How do we achieve that? Provide valuable experiences when people come to the sessions. This session is going to be about time management. You all showed up because you believe that time management is either lacking in your life, or it's either a very important topic, or somebody told you about it and said, hey, show up, and that's why you're here. But definitely, you will definitely find information when you come to a session. Bringing informative and educational content from around San Diego County. Hugo here, he lives in the county of San Diego. You know, you see people on TV all the time and you think, oh, what a wonderful person on TV, et cetera, et cetera. We have valuable talent, and I want to bring it to you so that you can see it in a live session. And you can say, I knew this person, I know this person, I learned this from this individual. And we also want to create a safe environment where professionals from various disciplines can network. What that means is, we might be focused on math, we might be focused on robotics, we might be focused on the neurosciences, we might be focused in our own little world. But coming to the info sessions in this area, in this format, will definitely allow you to meet a patent lawyer, person that works at General Atomics, person from community college, and also, or a person from high school, different high schools, and we can all learn from each other. For example, how many of you know how to work Instagram? Raise your hand. Okay. You look around. How many people did raise their hand? Okay. So that means that some individuals can definitely learn from other individuals. How many of you know how to use Bernoulli's equation? Raise your hand. Okay. We have one person that does that. So everybody else can definitely carry on a technical conversation if you want, or just catch up on some conversation that intrigues you, or a show that you watch, or a podcast that you learned about. So that is what networking is. And also change information, contact information. So right now, today, our time management session, I'm proud to present Hugo Denat. He's a French individual that lives in the county of San Diego, and he has his own business. It's called Time Flies, and he focuses on time management. So I'm going to turn it over to Hugo Denat at the moment. Thank you, Hugo. So we're going to switch over to...
Switch computers. We figure it out once, so we might figure
There
it
it
out.
is.
Oh, great.
When you need a sound, just plug into it.
Yeah, I'll do that. Hi guys, so as Asano was saying, I'm French. I arrived in San Diego 2.5 years ago. I was actually oversold on the weather because the past 2 days hasn't been great, so I didn't sign up for that actually. Yeah. So I met my now wife and mother of my kid like 4 years ago while traveling. It's one of my passions, and we dated internationally for 1.5 years. And her here and me in France said like, okay, we have to do this, and now I'm here in San Diego. And as Lester was saying, I'm working on time management and productivity, and I help companies, but also individuals, on how to be more productive, how to get back in control of their time. And today, I want to talk to you about the 5 pitfalls, the 5 misconceptions that people have using time management. Because there is this famous quote that time is what we want the most, but it's also what we use the worst. It is coming from William Penn. It's English writer in the 17th century. I had to look that up. But that's true. That's something that is one of the most valuable scarce that we have, the most valuable asset, which is actually a scarce because it's limited. So in this limited amount, how we can use it the most to get the most out of it. That's what we're going to talk about today. But first, let me talk to you about just a little story. Something that is a metaphor of something that I've seen a lot in the past 9 years of experience that I have in management consulting. This is William. William is a, how do you call it? Yeah, lumberjack. He's a lumberjack, so he's using an axe to actually cut all the trees that he has cut for that day. He has dozens of trees that he needs to cut, and everything that he has is an axe. He's overwhelmed. He has so much to do, and the only thing that he has is an axe. But he doesn't know that there is another solution. His friend, Thomas, comes and says, hey, what are you doing, William? What are you doing with one axe? You have like dozens of trees that you need to cut. Why are you using only an axe? This is the only thing that I have. Hey, I have something for you. Chainsaw? Right. I have a chainsaw. Let's put you back in the context. We're in early 19th century. Thomas doesn't know what a chainsaw is. It's kind of scary. It's new technology. It seems dangerous. I know the axe. I don't know what a chainsaw is. But when you talk about it, there is maintenance. You have to put oil. You have to put gas in it. Or I don't know. It sounds pretty scary. I don't know it, and I don't want to use it. Let me just use the axe because I know. But please get out of my way because I'm busy. Which is frustrating for Thomas. He comes with a solution. He really wants to help his friend. Hey, you're losing so much of your time right now. I have a better solution to help you and be more productive and get to your objective easier, quicker, with less overwhelm. But that's his answer. I'm too busy. Just leave me alone. And that's exactly the situation I've been facing with a lot of my clients. I've been working in business consulting, management consulting for different groups. And every time I was coming to see a client and providing solutions to them, I would say, hey, you're gonna save so much of your time. Look, you spend so much time in Excel, like keying some random words or random numbers in Excel. I have this macro that I built for you. You're gonna save an hour a day. But that person can be a little bit scared by this new technology, just a macro. But please get out of my way. I'm too busy to improve. And I've been frustrated for that. That's why I started this company called Pitfalls on time management and productivity. So I've been working with people and helping them get back in control of their time. And I started a year ago a YouTube channel to get to know a little bit my audience and get to know how can I better serve these people. And today we're going to talk about the 5 pitfalls of time management. And I wanted to bring these 5 main topics today. I want it to be as interactive as possible. So if you guys have any questions, if you want to interrupt or add anything, please do. I want it to be as interactive as possible. That's why I have some videos to show you, some exercise that we're going to do together to make it as interactive as possible. So the 5 main themes that we're going to talk about are going to be about your perception of time, just to start with and to set the ground. We're going to talk about improvement, because when we talk about time management, there is this layer of self-development and personal improvement. So we're going to talk about misconceptions about improvement. We're going to talk about technology and how technology can enhance productivity or steer you away from being productive. Before talking about productivity itself and multitasking. I see you guys with your computers. I hope none of them are actually on, because I strongly believe that multitasking is not what you think it is. Sounds good for you? Okay. So first, it's about time itself. We tend to think that if we lose 1 hour, then we just lost 1 hour. Makes sense, right? But when you think about it, when you lose just an hour, if you're doing something that doesn't bring you a lot of energy, that kind of makes you grumpy, puts you in a bad mood, in an hour you think, okay, the hour is gone, let me focus on something else. You start with a negative equity. As opposed to if you do something that energizes you, that makes you feel good, and then you're ready to tackle something else, then you start with a positive equity. So 1 hour lost equals 1 hour lost is a misconception. Let me give you an example. Cynthia is a high schooler. She loves to run whenever she has a little bit of time. After lunch or maybe in the morning at 6 a.m., she likes to maybe wake up and go for a run for 30 minutes or for an hour. That's what she likes to do. As opposed to Liam, he likes to play video games, or he likes to watch Netflix when he has one hour here and there, or he likes to scroll Instagram or TikTok. Who feels like Cynthia? Raise your hand. You're welcome, Cynthia. Who feels like Liam? Yeah? And you don't have to feel like one or the other. It can be a mix, right? Who feels like a little bit both? Here and there, yeah? Me too. And what I'm going to tell you right now is not like a lesson or something that I want to tell you what to do. Your life is your own life. Your life is your life by design, and you choose, you're accountable for your own life, and you choose to live it as you want it. But it's always good to be aware of certain things and how it can impact your productivity, your well-being. So let's say I'm supposed to have some gray. The colors are not reflecting perfectly. That's fine. You're supposed to have like 1 hour here, and you're supposed to have that just time. You spend an hour. Let's say you choose to spend an hour like Cynthia or like Leah for just an hour. How do you think how productive you think you're going to be after you spend that hour doing exercises or something that makes you feel good, that energizes you, as opposed to 1 hour of watching Netflix or 1 hour of just like scrolling and being lost in the scroll of Instagram or TikTok or Facebook. You spend an hour here, how do you think it sets you for the next 2-3 hours? Who do you think is going to be the most productive after? Yeah? Do we all agree that Cynthia starts maybe a little bit ahead? Her productivity level is going to be pretty high for the next hours because she spent that first hour on something that energized her. As opposed to Liam, that starts with kind of a negative equity and then can reach the same productivity level as Cynthia after a couple hours or maybe even less than that, it depends. But let's all agree on the fact that it's going to take much more effort for Liam to actually get back to an optimized productivity level. And the idea behind is that what you're spending your time on right now sets the tone for what's coming next. So when we say we lose 1 hour, we lose 1 hour, no, we lose a little bit more than that. And that's why I don't know if you guys are watching some influencers on YouTube, on social media, and everyone talks about morning routines, right? No? Or maybe they're just targeting me, because I see that all the time. But a lot of people talk about morning routines and how morning routines are so beneficial and how they can drive you to success and all these things. I agree on some of it, but there is something that is really important. The underlying message behind is that if you start off your day in the best way, it sets you for success for the rest of the day. What do you do the first minute, the first second, the first 30 seconds when you wake up? What is the first activity that you do? Plug in your phone? Yeah? You go for your phone?
Look at the time. Go back to bed.
You look at the time? Where do you look at the time?
My phone.
On your phone. For who that statement is true, the first thing that I do when I wake up is to check my phone. Personally, yes. Because I never bothered actually buying an alarm clock. That's my alarm clock, that's very easy. But then, first thing you do is looking at the screen. Also, the last thing you do when you go to bed is looking at the screen too. And there's been studies about like technology and how to avoid screen time before you wake up, before you go to bed, because that enhances sleep, and also what you do first in the morning. So I hope this clarifies some of the things around the activities that you do and how it sets you up for success for the rest of the day.
So I guess, if I may interject on this one, it also depends on the mindset of the individual, right?
Yeah.
And the goals of it. Let's say Liam, he wants to be a game, in the game industry, computer game industry. So if he devotes his time to gaming, he's actually accumulating experience on that, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Right. So I guess just maybe that's something that somebody could also consider.
And that was just an example about how you choose to spend your time, but it's also linked to how you choose to eat. All the type of food that you want to ingest and how it helps you have the right energy level to be more productive or to have to be in the right mood. But yes, that's true. You can have exceptions. If your objective is actually to be a gamer, and all the time that you're going to spend doing like gaming is going to add value and add experience to, and maybe higher your chances of success in that industry. Now I want to talk about improvements. So before talking about, before being an expert in time management and productivity, I was working with businesses on what we call continuous improvement. How to improve, optimize processes to make them more efficient, to drive more clients, to be more, to have higher quality service for your clients, and to serve them better. And so improvement is one other misconception about improvement is that improvement is sudden. We want to, if we want to improve, we need to have a big change, a breakthrough event in our life to actually drive improvement. That can be, once again, you can have an exception to the rule, and where breakthrough improvement can happen and be sustainable. I'll give you that. But that's the outlier. Statistically speaking, you have higher chances to have long, sustainable, positive results if you are doing it incrementally. I have a small video for you. Okay, I'm going to try to remember what he says. So basically that guy has dominoes, 13 dominoes. The first one is just, I think, like a 10th of an inch. And the biggest one is, I think, 100 pounds. And
So the domino can knock over
Can you place
another
here?
domino, which is about
Okay.
1.5 times.
okay, let me just do that.
Everybody knows about playing with dominoes, but what you may not know is that a domino can knock over another domino, which is about 1.5 times larger. So what I have here is a chain of dominoes. Each one is 1.5 times larger than the previous one. And the smallest domino is about 5 millimeters high and 1 millimeter thick. And I will carefully place it. And there are 13 dominoes. And the largest domino, it weighs about 100 pounds, and is more than a meter tall. Ready? Two. That was 13 dominoes. If I had 29 dominoes, the last domino would be as tall as the Empire State Building.
Okay. I'm sorry, you have to put back the boom because that's not the big part. I love that guy, he's kind of nerdy. But his point is really right. And so, how does it relate to improvement that we just talked about? We're going to make it easy for you.
Yeah, it's just that one little thing can affect a lot of things
Yeah.
on the runner.
So you just apply a little bit of pressure on the smallest and it ended up moving the biggest domino. Anyone wants to add something about it?
I guess it takes more time for it rather than all the problems.
Yeah, more time, and behind taking more time, more effort. It would take more effort to actually try to move the 100 pounds. Did you see him when he tried to lift it up? It takes a lot of effort, a lot of energy. But by looking for compounding improvement, incremental improvement, and just having the smallest effort put on moving the small domino, he ended up moving the big domino without effort. That's what we're trying to reach when it comes to compounding incremental improvement. Instead of, so you're supposed to have here the performance, yeah, this is a graph with performance here and time. And too many people think that if you want to be more performance, you need to have a breakthrough improvement. But, you know, we are almost in 2020. What happens in 2020, you take new resolutions, okay? Boom, new resolution, I'm gonna go to the gym 3, 4, 5 times a week, right? The gyms are full in January, February. I go to the gym now, it's empty. There is no one. Why? Because people had good intentions, that's good, but they tried to change too quickly, too fast, too sudden, and then slowly but steady, they just go back to the initial state, or even worse. So, 2020, 2021, 2022, and then you haven't really improved. Do you relate to that? So what if you are looking for incremental improvement? What if you were looking for compounding improvement and try to be better every day, try to be 101% better than yesterday. And the day after, you 1% better than the day before. And 1% better. If you look, then you have compounding performance, compounding productivity. So the idea behind is change your habits one at a time. Just look for, yeah?
One thing I saw, or it made me think of that domino video, was we all have a ton of problems, and some problems are a lot bigger than others. And if you could line up, like, plan it so that the solution of the little problem will knock over the next bigger problem. Just line up the problems so that solving the one leads to the next.
Exactly.
And maybe to interject also, there's high school students, there's community college students, and professionals. So maybe for the high school students that are seniors right now, their problem is application for college or scholarship application. I mean, it's a daunting task. So what would you suggest would be a single small step that they could take today?
That's exactly, I mean, I don't know exactly what would be the first smallest steps, but that would be my recommendation. If you have a daunting task, a big objective, like moving this big domino, that sounds daunting. You don't know how to start. When you do goal setting, you start, that's what I want to achieve. Breaking down this daunting task into smaller bite-sized elements, more binary actions. I did it or I didn't do it. If you break it down into all these small tasks and start taking action, one day, one action. Then the second day, another action. And another day, another action. You're gonna end up reaching your goal with this compounding effect, as opposed to just procrastinating. Oh yeah, I know I have to apply to college. Yeah, I'll do it tomorrow. Then I'll do it tomorrow, and then all the pressure and all the overwhelm is going to be even higher and higher until the day you actually have to do it. You'll end up doing it, but with too much maybe pressure, and not really feeling good about it, and maybe not in the best way, and ultimately failing at this application. So I think that's a very good suggestion to actually break down this big task into smaller chunks that you can actually act on every single day.
And you can transfer that to the professional level when you actually have a project at work that you're, see the big problem, but also, break it down into small little chunks that are more digestible.
Yeah, the concept is always the same. And also at personal level, if you want to run a marathon, how do you prepare to running a marathon? What are all the topics that you need to explore, or the things that you need to do in order to be ready for that ultimate goal that is running a marathon? You need to have the right equipment. You need to subscribe and to pay your ticket for that marathon. You need to train. These are maybe the three main aspects. But what can you do on each of these to actually get you closer to add value to reaching that ultimate goal that is running the marathon? So this concept applies to anything, whether you're in high school, college, at work, or personal life. sense?
I have one other little comment, if I may interject here.
Yeah.
So, you mentioned the marathon, and you mentioned getting the right clothes, getting the training, et cetera, et cetera. But you mentioned a key point, which is pay the fee to actually enter the race.
Yeah.
So to me, that is holding yourself or putting some skin in the game per se, that you're gonna be accountable. So how do you hold yourself accountable? I can say I'm gonna run the marathon and not say when. And I mean, I could mean 10 years from now, but if the time commitment's not made up front, then how am I holding myself accountable to have a time span to set that goal? So for all of us, I think it's a key point to either say it out loud, get a partner and say, hey, you know, I'm going to do this, I'm going to commit, and put a deadline to your commitment and what you're gonna do. So I don't know if we're gonna mention that later.
I didn't plan on mentioning it, but when you have a certain goal, how to set your goals in the best way. Smart goals is a good way to do it. Who doesn't know anything about smart goals? Yeah? Let's find out, no? I have a YouTube video about it. But, a lot of things that we are touching on today, this regroups a lot of concepts where I have individual videos on my YouTube channel. I'm going to give you a quick but every time you set a goal, it needs to be SMART. SMART is an acronym for specific. So specific, I'm going to run a marathon. So it's already a little bit specific. So let's say I want to be healthier. I want to be healthier. It's not really specific, right? It's very easy to set a goal that is not specific, because if you fail, then you will not know that you failed. No one will know. So when we come back to accountability, not having a specific enough goal is not really being accountable for that goal. So you need to be always specific, and instead of saying I want to be healthier, so what can you do in order to be healthier? I want to, I don't know, run twice a week. That's much more actionable, much more specific. And you know that if you run twice a week, that's going to contribute to being healthier, for example. So it needs to be measurable. Measurable means that you need to have some kind of measure in a focus. You need to have some measure, some data to show, to monitor against while you're trying to reach that goal, to see if you're actually on a good path or not to reaching that goal. So running is not enough. I want to run twice a week. So at the end of the week, if you run twice or 3 times, you know you're on a good path. And if you haven't, then you know you're behind. It needs to be achievable. You need to be in the best position to actually reach that goal. If you're not athletic at all, or if you're not athletic and you say, I'm gonna run an Ironman next month, that doesn't seem really achievable. So you need to make sure that this is a goal that you are capable of, but don't be afraid to challenge yourself. It needs to be realistic. Realistic, achievable. Every time I have a framework with an acronym, I always lose one. There is always one that I don't know. It needs to be, for the people that know the framework, SMART goal, you don't know which one I'm missing. Okay, the R is going to come back to me. It needs to be time bound. So if you say, I want to lose weight is not enough. I want to lose 20 pounds or 10 pounds in the next 6 months. So by April next year, I want to have lost 20 or 10 pounds. So you need to set a time, a limit.
Relevant.
Relevant, thank you. You just read that?
Yeah.
It needs to be relevant. So time bound, I think you got it. It needs to be relevant. It needs to be aligned to your bigger goal. So let's say your bigger goal is to be healthier in general. Then how can I have smaller goals that all are contributing to this higher goal? So that's a good framework that I use all the time in my business or with my clients to make sure that when you set a goal, you don't have a sloppy goal, right? You set yourself accountable, and you know by checking all of those that you're gonna end up like be accountable for yourself and put yourself in the best position to actually reach that goal. Okay, so that was improvement. Going back to continuous. Yes. Something I wanted to touch on about improvement as well is how people see success. And a lot of people see success like this. It's either you fail or you succeed, right? But success looks a little bit more like this, right? The same way people do the apology of morning routine, people do the apology of failures. People say, yeah, you need to fail, you need to fail. Have you ever heard this kind of message? Yes. I think it's a great message, but it's missing a little bit. Because if you fail, and that's it, you're not going to set you up for success for reaching that win, that success. You need to fail, yes, but you also need to learn from that failure. If you are missing this learning part, you are not setting yourself for success. And there is, I don't know, this interview of like an interviewer and a businessman, and say, I don't know which businessman, what it was, and the question was like, how do you win in business? You win by taking good decisions. Okay, but how do you take good decisions? From experience. That's how you get to take good decisions. But how do you get experience? Experience, you get it from bad decisions. So taking bad decisions and learning from these bad decisions, why? Just checking in with yourself. What did I do wrong, and what can be improved? But what also did I do good? And having this constant learning, constant improvement is going to pave the road for your success. Whether you're in high school, senior in high school, or you're in college or for the rest. So far so good? Okay. The third misconception, third pitfall about time management is that technology is going to be the solution. Technology is going to make me more productive. You've heard of that, maybe you think this way too. So I wanted to do a quick exercise. I have sticky notes. You all have pens, right? Of course, you're coming to a time management session, you bring your pen. If you don't, you can split them up. So, if you don't mind, I want to see what's on your phone. I will not do it personally. Just take three. Take three sticky notes. Take three sticky notes, and I want you to check in your smartphone what are the three last apps that you use. And be real, it's going to be anonymous. I'm going to collect all the sticky notes. I will not know who wrote what. So what are the 3 last apps that you use on your phone? So for example, Google Map. Maybe you didn't know how to get here. Or this one. Do you know what app it is?
Audible.
Yeah? Audible. That's a good one. You try. And the last one, you guys all know it. Whatever this is, if it's Tinder, I want to know. Don't hold it back. You too, Lazaro?
Yeah, just, when you're done, just pass them over this way.
Yeah. Once you're done, we will not check who it is. Thank you. Can you just put them at the end of the table? Just keep them. That's gonna be easier for you to grab them. Okay. Thank you. I'm gonna take them. Do I have all of them? Do I have all of them? No. Okay.
Yeah, pass them over.
Pass them over. Pass them over. Doesn't work. Oh, I missed it. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Do you have every? Okay, let's do a test now. Let's try to see. I'm shuffling so that I don't want to put anyone on the spot. Okay, messages, WhatsApp, Facebook, Gmail, Outlook, WhatsApp, Safari, Instagram, Safari, WhatsApp. This weekend, WhatsApp. Maps, Chrome, Waze, Gmail, WhatsApp. I really thought WhatsApp was dead. Samsung Notes, Meetup, Instagram, Google Map, Calendar, Messages, Snapchat, Safari, Spotify, Instagram, Notes, Instagram, Notability, Messages, Instagram, they're the winner, I think. Twitter, I don't see any TikTok. IRS to go. Okay. Someone getting a problem with IRS. Progressive Insurance. ADP run payroll. For some reason, I think I know who that is. Reddit. Gmail. Messaging. Snapchat. Spotify. Instagram. TikTok. Spotify. Skype. Okay, something not. These are the notes. Skype. Google Drive. Stock apps. And Snapchat. Okay. if you saw it, I kind of like bundled them together. So we have kind of like everything about maps and progressive pre-roll. So these are like, we have social media, internet, messaging, IRS to go, I'm going to put it in others, music, and notes and everything, so productivity. Thank you for being honest. Who wasn't honest? No? I always have at least one thing there, I'm sorry. So, the thing is, how we use technology, and is technology truly serve us to be more productive? Out of all this, so we are, I don't know, 15 people times 3, it's almost like 50 sticky notes. And we have maybe 30%, a good 30% that is only social media, and less than 10% on productivity. So we have an element of answer. You can say, I'm using social media for my business or for anything like that, but I think with the audience here, social media is more like for amusement, distraction, or just for fun. So when people say technology is the solution, when we look at what are the 3 last apps that we use, maybe that's not truly what we use technology for. So there is a balance between technology, is it really bringing me like productivity or just distractions? We can say yes, messaging, internet, or even social media, that helps me communicate with my surroundings, but is that true? We think that social media and everything gets us closer to people, but is that really true? I'm not saying that I have the answer, I just want you to sleep on that. Because I see this all the time. I see people just walking on their phones all the time. I have to admit, sometimes I do it myself. But even I see people at dinner, like a whole family, 4 people, all on their phones, with children that are less than 10 years old and are on the phone too. I'm not judging, I'm not saying there is a right or wrong, I'm saying that I have a 4-month-old at home and I know that I don't want him to be exposed to screen until he has the right age to understand what are screens for. We can say knowledge, it can bring us knowledge, yes, but be careful. I saw a Reddit one. We can think that we can learn from Reddit, yes, sometimes, but there is also disinformation. So we need to be careful with that. And we can think that all this technology, oh, by the way, I have a laser. We can think that these apps have been designed for productivity, but yes, they've also been designed for addiction, right? You watch YouTube, you have, what's the next video? You know that with the tags and everything, YouTube is a big algorithm machine that is trying to keep you on the platform. They're trying to keep you as much as possible on that platform and to suck your time. Sorry for, pardon my French. They are designed for keeping you using these tools. So they are really designed for addiction. It can be a whole, we can talk about this whole topic for an hour, but you need to be mindful of that. And that's the only message I wanted to touch on technology. We think it's going to help you be more productive, better manage your time and everything. I just want you to be mindful that this might not be the solution. You just need to work on your habits, on what you want to do, what you want to achieve, and then use technology in order to be an enabler, a catalyst for where you want to be. You getting on that? Anything to add on technology? Yes.
I have a question, comment. What would you say, like young people that nowadays, they have to use the tablet to do homework and everything, and the books are online? So they're working on something, but let's say that, they get a message and they get a notification, oh, you have a message. So they go to that message and they forget about the homework. What can we do for like a teenager to help him concentrate on the homework that he's doing online, but not be distracted by all these other apps?
That's a very interesting topic, and I would say it doesn't only apply to teenagers. Like even adults are disturbed by notifications all the time. I see it at work. I work people in their cubicle. They have their phone displayed right here, screen up. They're working. They have the slightest notification. Boom! I'm stopping everything I do. I just go to my phone, and it can be like the dumbest notification from the dumbest app that they have, but it's going to distract them. So if I may, I'm going to bring it just not only focused to teenagers, but for everyone, because I think it applies to everyone. Based on the categorization, we did a side category of all these apps. There are some that are supposed to help you, and some that you know are going to be distraction. So as long as you are aware of this to start with, you can say, okay, do I really need these notifications? Right? Do I really need that? So what I've been doing, so in order to be very practical, just for me, I stop any notification that is not a person. So because you can say, if I stop all the notifications, if there is an emergency, I will not see it, right? I will not see that important text that I need to see. But first of all, if there is an emergency, a true emergency, is the person going to reach you by text? I don't think so. They're going to call you. So you can check your text messages every limited amount of time every day, and all your notifications. So very tactically, you can put your phone away. If that gives you anxiety, we always have like this 2 feet at least. We need to be closer to like at least 2 feet of our phones. Otherwise, where's my phone? Where's my phone? You can either put it away or put screen down. You can put it in airplane mode or do not disturb, and just work on the notification, and just by category of app. If these apps are not direct communication with people, you just disable, and it's gonna reduce the amount of pickups of your phone that you will have, and the amount of time you're going to actually watch anything on your phone. You know that if you have an iPhone, you have screen time functionality, and you can look at how many times you picked up your phone, how much time you spend on each app, and that gives you kind of a category. I think Android has a similar thing. But you want to, and you also can disable, limit your time for the day for a certain app. That's what I did on Instagram, for example. I use Instagram for business, but I don't want to spend more than 10 minutes a day. So what I do is I limit to 10 hours a day, and then log me off. I think with going back to teenagers, just giving them a rule to actually do something without explaining why you are restricting them on social media or phone notification, they're not going to understand, I think, and explaining the why is really important. I hope that gives an element of that. Productivity. So we think that productivity is getting more done. This is wrong. Because when you look at everything that you do throughout the day, do everything that is on your to-do list or everything that you thought you would think you have to do, do everything require your attention and do everything require you working on that. And do everything have the same impact on towards reaching your goals. Just to be mindful of time, how much more time do you have? Like 10 more minutes?
We go until 8, so that's
Oh, we go
including,
to 8?
yeah, that's including
Okay.
questions and
Can we do
answers.
that? No, just, I need like just 20 minutes.
So we have about 20 minutes and then questions and answers.
Okay, perfect. And get the questions going as we go. So have you heard of the Pareto rule, the 80-20? No? So the Pareto rule comes from Mr. Pareto, he's an Italian guy, that identify a pattern in many different topics, that 20% of the effort brings you 80% of the results. How did he find that? I think he was gardening and he had like some pods or like some pea pods, and he noticed that 20% of the pea pods were giving 80% of the harvest, 80% of the results. He also noticed that 20% of the people are actually owning 80% of the wealth in the world. Same, 20%, 80% of your time, you're gonna spend your time on 20% of the apps that you have on your phone. I'm sure that if we look at screen time data, 20% of your apps, you're spending 80% of your time on it. The same way, 80% of the time, you are wearing 20% of your wardrobe. Have you noticed that you're wearing pretty much the same clothes, like not exactly the same clothes, but you take like 1/5 of your whole wardrobe and you're wearing it 80% of the time? Because the ski outfits, you're not wearing it, it's illegal, right? Or some costumes, you never wear them once a year, max. 20% of the wardrobe, 80% of the time. Same for people that are on business, 80% of your complaints are going to come from 20% of your customers. 80% of your revenues are coming from 20% of your clients. You can go on and on and on. So, I have one more. I have two more. 80% of all traffic accidents are coming from 20% of the drivers. And 80% of the crimes are coming from 20% of the criminals. You can go on and on and on. 80% of your results are coming from 20% of your efforts. So when we think that my efforts, I have 20%, 20%, 20%, 20%, and same here. I have the worst anxiety. When we think that the distribution of our time will give an even distribution of our efforts, the correct is that if you focus on the 20% of what is really important for you, this is going to drive 80%. Being bad at time management often comes down to a lack of focus. I'm too scattered. I want to do too many things. So you have all your to-do lists, and that's what I do with most of my clients. I have everything on my to-do list. If you cut it in 5 pieces and you take the highest priority, the 20%, you're gonna feel already very accomplished. Stop focusing on all of this that is driving little to no results, and just stop focusing on what is truly important. what does it mean, something that is important? And that's gonna make the link with the important urgent matrix. Something that is important is something that is aligned to your goals. When you set up your goals with the proper goal setting methodology, SMART goals. By the way, do you remember SMART? What does it mean? SMART for
Specific, measurable, achievable,
measurable,
timeout.
time-bound, yes, achievable, are relevant. Which is good. You're actually listening. So once you identify your goals, what is important, the tasks that are important are the ones that will bring you closer to reaching that goal. And then you have some other tasks that can come and that are urgent. Things that are coming up that you didn't anticipate, that are coming on your plate, that are adding to your task list, but that are not really aligned with your goals. They are not important by nature. So you can drive what we call the Eisenhower matrix, the urgent important matrix. And you have 4 quadrants. Things that are important, urgent, not urgent, not important, urgent, and not important, not urgent. You can categorize everything in your to-do list in order to help you sort out what you need to focus on and what you need to actually get rid of. So let's start with the important and not urgent. It's important, it's aligned to my goals, I will have to do it, it's important for me, it's going to make me feel good, but it doesn't have to be done now. So let's deprioritize it compared to something that is maybe more urgent. On the other side of the spectrum, we have the tasks that are not important, but that are urgent. So it's not aligned to my goal, but it's urgent, it has to be done now. And too often, people are dropping everything that they do to answer urgent requests. At work, urgent requests coming in, or email, or my boss asking something, I have to do it right now. It's not aligned to my goal, but it's just affecting my ability to actually work on my important tasks. Maybe you have in mind some examples when you were at school, or when you study. You have to study for your exam that is coming up next week, it's important. And some urgent thing, I don't know, mom is calling you downstairs to do something, to help her cook or something. It's not related to what you were purposely planning to do, but it's impacting your ability to deliver on that promise. Right?
So in that case, what do you do?
Then you pull up that matrix and you show it to your mom.
Oh.
Okay, that's what I learned. Sorry, it's not important. At least you have a way to say it.
To you right now.
Sorry?
Hugo says I don't have to listen to you right
Exactly.
I'm gonna use the 80-20 rule, man.
You have the non-urgent and not important. So it's not aligned to my goals and it's not really urgent. And you have the urgent and important. It has to be done now, and it's aligned to my goals. You have to guess which one you should focus on now, the first one. What kind of urgent? Important, urgent. So let's do a test. So this matrix is called the Eisenhower matrix, or the urgent important, and there are 4 outcomes, and we call them the 4 Ds. You either do, you delegate, you discard, or you delay. Actually, discard is not the right one, but as I told you, any framework, I'm always using one. Yeah, delete. Or discard, actually. Just cover. Okay, let's do a test. What quadrant is actually do what the actions that you need to do? Oh, yeah. Yeah. I didn't remember actually remembering that. Which one should you delegate? I have 3, I have 4. Can I write here? Okay, ask the question.
Can you write up that? Can you think of the end? There's a
No,
start.
no, I will not give it a try. I don't want to mess it up.
Yeah, now with the mark.
Okay, the delegate. 3. It's not important, it's urgent. Yeah. So maybe that's what you should tell your mom. It's not important, it's urgent, you want me to ask? I'm going to delegate to my little sister. It works very well in business, when you're at work. When you have all your duties and you're a manager, it helps you, giving you a framework to know what you need to delegate. Why? Because it's not important by nature. So if you delegate, that person will work on other things so that you can focus on what is important for you.
But this works in multiple levels, because if you're delegating something to a subordinate or to another person, then you're actually teaching them how to be leaders, because they feel important. They're actually doing work for
Yeah.
you. So
And when we get to dive on delegation and how it helps you, teaching and developing your people,
right.
that's a very important element too. So it's a win-win. Then delete. What are the ones that you're supposed to delete? 4. Yeah, 4. It's not important, it's not urgent, so why even bother? Delay. It's not urgent, it's still important, but it's not urgent, so you can delay on that one. The cool thing is, when you delete this, you delegated this, and you delayed this, you freed up so much more time on things that are important and urgent. So it helps you, giving you a framework on how to prioritize everything. And the cool thing also is that here, what everything that is in this quadrant actually comes down to the 20% that drives 80% of the effort. So that's why I actually overlay both together. Next, and the last misconception is that multitasking is a skill. I've seen a lot of resumes of people saying, yeah, I'm good at multitasking. I love those because I'm going to challenge them very hard. So in order to present that, I'm going to need 2 volunteers. By definition of volunteers, you're not picking them. Lazaro, you're not picking them. Volunteers are volunteers. Okay, who?
I thought you said voluntold.
You don't even know what I'm going to make you do. Yeah? Okay, 2 volunteers. Come on, up with me. And we're gonna need, okay. 1 needs to have a smartphone or anything that can type. First one that grabs the smartphone. Okay. So you have the smartphone and you have the pen. Lorenz and Jose. So Jose, you're going to write. And Lawrence, you're going to stay here and time. So we're going to do 2 exercises. This is an exercise that I got from the book from Dave Crenshaw, The Myth of Multitasking. So, Jose, you're going to write, time flies, but you are the pilot. Okay? Time flies, but you are the pilot. With in big capitals. And then you're going to write a series of numbers right underneath it. 1 to 26, because in the sentence time flies but you are the pilot, you have 26 minutes. So you're going to write time flies but you are the pilot, and then 1 to 26. Lawrence is going to tell you. All caps, it needs to be pretty visible. Okay? 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, then 1 to 26. I have to remind you, you are time, so hurry up. Stop. How much time? 45 seconds. Okay. So this is an example. Stay here. This is an example of two tasks that have been done in sequence. First task, second task. You're focusing on the first task, and then you're focusing on the second task. So now what I'm going to ask you to do is to do exactly the same thing but multitasking. Meaning that you're going to write T and 1, and the I 2, and 3, and Sophia. And Lawrence is going to have you. 3, 2, 1, go! Oh my god. So how do you feel right now, right after that? You feel pretty good? That wasn't the answer I was expecting. You guys are good. You're good. Thank you. So the first one was done in sequence, and the second one was done multitasking. So first, so the answer I was expecting from you after this one, you would seem like a little bit overwhelmed. You didn't really know where you were at the end, and it was like you kind of lost the picture of where you were at on the board, and it didn't allow you to do like a really good job on like managing mistakes compared to people. But also you had some quality issue on your work. You missed the I. If I didn't tell you that you missed the I, you would have got like an error or a mistake at the end, right? And obviously, it took you 20 more seconds to do this activity, multitasking compared to doing it as a sequence. So when people say, I'm good at multitasking, this is an example of multitasking that goes wrong. Thank you for being a good sport. The thing is, our brain is like a computer that has like one CPU. Computer, how do we think? I think that's what CPU is. A computer, we think that the computer is doing several things at the same time, but a computer, historical computer that has one CPU, one core, is doing all these tasks very quickly. So we think it's multitasking, but it's actually doing one task at a time. The brain is doing exactly the same thing. one task at a time. And when we think we're doing two things at the same time, we're never actually focusing on two things at the same time. This is something that we cannot do. What your brain is actually doing is shifting back and forth between these two tasks, and in the process is doing goal shifting, meaning that I'm shifting my goal. I was writing letters, but I shifted my goals towards writing numbers. And doing role activation, meaning that, okay, I understand what is my goal, so now I'm going to activate and do what I'm supposed to do to reach that goal. And then do it back and forth. Once again, you switch back to letters, then you switch back to numbers, etc., etc. And that's what your brain is constantly doing very fast. You don't see it. But goal shifting, role activation, goal shifting, role activation, goal shifting, role activation, all the time. And when you think that you're doing a good job at multitasking, you actually exhaust your brain. So you feel like you're doing a good job because your brain is releasing dopamine, that is an hormone that makes you feel good. Yeah, I'm feeling good about multitasking, but actually it exhausts your brain even more, and on the long run, you're going to achieve less. So the main message is that you shouldn't try to multitask. Single focus is key. Just do one thing at a time, do it great, complete it, and then move on to something. And then there are some other concepts of context switching, when you just keep changing topics. That's also related to this topic. But what I can do personally, I can like walk my dog and listen to a podcast at the same time. I can do it. This is multitasking. This is not multi-focusing, because I use my muscle memory, if we can call it that way. Walking the dog doesn't require any of my CPU, not any of my brain. I can do it like kind of mechanically in autopilot, so that my brain is focusing on my podcast. If something happens and I need to focus more on anything that comes up, like someone talks to me while I'm listening to my podcast, I have to stop the podcast or rewind or anything, because I cannot talk to someone and listen to my podcast at the same time. Because talking to someone actually requires a little bit more brain juice. So if I can give you an action for later when you are studying, don't think that you can do two things at the same time, studying and texting to your friend, or checking social media at the same time. You're not going to do as much as a good job as compared to if you were actually single focusing on studying for half an hour or for 25 minutes, and then give you a 5-minute break. And then it comes down to the initial question about notifications and everything. Every time you get a notification, you're doing this goal shifting or activation and exhaust your brain. And on that note, to have a lot more focus, I recommend the Pomodoro technique. I don't know if you guys know what the Pomodoro technique is. I have actually a video about that on my YouTube channel. And I have also a video where you do a whole Pomodoro cycle with me. It's 25 minutes focus, then you allow yourself 5 minutes break. And then you come back, 25 minutes focus. No phone, nothing, you just focus on studying, 5 minutes break. And you do this 4 times, and then you give yourself a longer break, 15 or 30 minutes. You think that it's kind of counterintuitive because you're taking a lot of breaks, but you're focusing on just one task at a time that makes you much more productive. And I highly recommend, it's great for studying. The Pomodoro technique is just the best thing that you can use, the best tool you can use to be more productive.
What is the name of it?
Pomodoro.
Pomodoro?
Pomodoro, it means tomato in Italian. And I have a video on my YouTube channel where you're doing a whole Pomodoro cycle with me. It's a 2-hour video. and you're doing the Pomodoro with me. I'm actually working while you're studying, and I have the timer that gives you, you just play the video and you put it in the background, and you have some timer, some reminder, where you stop working, you give yourself 5 minutes break, you do your social media or whatever you need to do, and then come back. So, in summary, I want to draw your attention to one key message per topic, but also one action that I would like you to try, or something that I want you to do. Because if more information was the answer, then we would be all billionaires with amazing apps, right? So information is not the answer, action is the answer. I want you to get out of this session and take one small action, one small incremental improvement towards the goal of being better in your time. So we said that time compounds over time. Oh, there is a typo. Time compounds over time. It's not 1 hour lost equals 1 hour lost. Also, improvement is also compounding and is incremental. You only get better statistically by being better 1% better than the day before, instead of seeking breakthrough events, breakthrough improvements. So, sorry, I lost all that reaction. Time compounds over time. Whenever you're doing something that doesn't look to be aligned to your goal, or you're spending a little bit too much on the scroll of Instagram, because we saw Instagram is used pretty much most of the time. Just check in with yourself. Okay, do I feel good about what I'm doing right now? And should I do something that actually is going to make me feel better? Just noticing it, not judging, and maybe that's going to allow you to switch to something more aligned to your goal and that energizes you and makes you feel better. On improvement is incremental. Try to implement one habit, starting tomorrow, not even tomorrow, starting today. Something that you want to try to do every day that you know makes you feel good. You want to learn a new language or something, just try 1 minute a day, just 1 minute. Once you have this habit implemented, just try 2 minutes. And then try 3 minutes. It's going to rewire your brain into having this habit implemented in your daily life, and then you can stack up new habits. Don't try to, 2020 is just around the corner, right? Don't try to do like, hey, I'm going to do these amazing things, and then, you know what happens? You come back to the initial stage. You need to understand how habits are made, and it's 3 things. A habit is a reminder, a routine, and a reward. I also have a video about that. Technology. Technology is not the solution. Same as for this one, just check in with yourself. Okay? I spend 20 minutes or 30 minutes on checking my TikTok. Okay? I think I'm past that. I need to do something else. It doesn't bring me so much joy. Productivity, focus on the impactful tasks. The 20% that drive 80% of the results. So list what is your 20%. Multitasking, single focus. So stop multitasking. I wanted to share before I wrap up something I'm very excited about that I'm working on currently. So I told you I've been working on my YouTube videos for a year now, and I finally put a framework together that I've been using with my clients in the past years on driving improvement and driving productivity. And I'm gonna start an online course that is going to come, it's right around the corner in January. So it's gonna be the first time I do it on an online format. I'm not targeting any business per se, but I'm targeting people that are working, busy professionals that are working 50 to 60 hours a week, that are overworked, that don't have time for their kids, or don't have time to have a healthy life or anything that is important for them and that are like sucked in by work. The framework and the online course that I'm bringing is going to help them bring back to 40 hours a week that they are supposed to and save 10 to 20 hours a week. That is more than 1,000 hours a year. So almost 1,000 hours a year, which is a whole month back of their time. So this is a proven methodology. I'm building the wait list right now. So it's not available yet, but it's going to be in January. So if you're interested, if you know someone that is interested, if you feel like your dad is too much at work or your mom is too much at work and you want to bring them back so that they be more productive and be more with you, that may be one of the solutions. Work with me, and I work on a bonus on success for success innovation with this promo code. These people will have 20% off on our already discounted rate because it's the beta. This is the first time I launched it online, so I have a special price for discounted members that will help me build that program. Thank you guys. Thank you for your time. Thank you for trusting me with your time today. We spent like a little bit over an hour together, and I really appreciate that you guys come in. That's a real help. I'm really happy that you guys came in with your questions, being a good sport and helping me on that. So I hope you guys learned as much as possible.
Do we have any additional questions for Hugo about anything in time management?
Like with so many, well, especially with people who have some freedom of decision on their time, when you go when we drop from quadrant 1, which is important urgent, to quadrant 4, which is bad one, it's mostly because of emotional reasons. You know, quadrant 1 is hard and the drag, and quadrant 4 is usually fun and easy. There's this emotional aspect of, I want to get out of that to get into this.
Please connect with Hugo Denat at timeflies.us. Timeflies.us. Thank you for listening to another wonderful episode of Success Innovation. I hope to see you here next time. Have a wonderful day.